What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Abby, and today I'm showing you how I achieve these medium large ombre knotless braids. To achieve this look, you're gonna need the following items. I use the sensational pre-stretched Cankalon hair in the number 2 and the number 30, as well as Shine and Jam. I like using the yellow container, but the red container also works because it has a really good hold. To prepare my hair, I always use a thread rack, and the size of the pieces is a little larger than I typically would have. My number 2 is a little thicker than my number 30, and that's because I'm adding the number 30 later on in the braid. So I've already pre-parted my hair, and if you'd like to see how I parted my hair, I do have a video showing you guys how I go about it, so make sure you click the iCard above or look in the description box below for that video. But basically what you want to do is have your section detangled completely, because this will help you have an easier braiding process. And then you want to separate that section into 3 pieces. Now I like to have these pieces be semi-equal in size just to help me have a smoother braiding process. Okay, so now that you have your 3 pieces, you want to take your index finger on your right hand and put it under that middle piece, and then take your index finger on your left hand and put it under the other middle piece. At this point is where you will grab one of the pieces of hair, and you're going to grab it with that middle section and then continue braiding. Then you're going to add your second piece to that middle section and continue braiding. And then you're going to add one more piece in the middle section as well and continue braiding. Now it's harder to explain, so I hope that the visual is able to help you a little bit. But basically this is what I do to achieve the knotless look at the top. And then I continue braiding down, and I add product as I go, just to ensure that my hair is blending in with the number 2 and also staying in place. Once I reach about halfway through my braiding process, this is where I will add my number 30 to start creating that ombre look. I will describe how I add in these pieces of hair a little later in the video, so look forward to that. But for now, I'm just going to continue repeating how I go about achieving the knotless look at the top. So again, you have your 3 pieces at the top, and your goal is to bring that piece on the left side over to the right and the piece on your right side to the middle. At this point is where you will take that piece of hair and add it in. Take another piece, and I like to have it in a hook motion between my index and middle finger, and then add my third piece. And you want to make sure that you don't have any other hairs in the way to avoid any tension and to have the neatest look between your parts. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how I achieved the ombre look. Basically, you want to have your hair braided down, and in that middle section, you're going to grab the piece of number 30 with your thumb and index finger. And then you're going to continue braiding, and then you're going to add a second piece. And you want to make sure that you're continuously using product to hold your hair in place and to make sure it's not sticking out. And then you want to add a third piece. And this is actually a process of feeling what the braid is like. If you feel like the braid is getting too thick where you're adding the ombre hair, then you want to use less hair or not add as many pieces. Then you continue just braiding down. Braid all the way to the end of the braid, and you should have achieved your ombre look. This will work better also if you have shorter pieces of your darker hair at the top. And then when you add the 30 or the whichever color choice that you choose, you'll also have an easier fade between the dark and light colors. So once you have completed that process throughout all of your hair, your results should look something like this. Again, my braids were on the larger side because I just wanted to have a larger look since I wasn't keeping them in for so long. I think I did a really good job with this ombre look. I love using the number 30 or just kind of having like a very nice blend between my hair color and another hair color, just to give my braids, you know, a little spice. These braids were also a lot longer than I have done my braids in the past, and that was also on purpose because since I did do larger boxes, I wanted to have them be long and a little extra because ain't nothing wrong with being a little extra, you know. If you guys want a more detailed video on how I achieve knotless braids, including stretching the hair and dipping the hair, then you should definitely check out my previous video where I show you guys how I do smaller braids. This video was mostly focused on the starting process and the ombre process. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!